A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. The very first one, why not disaster report? If you all, I'm sure you all remember, there was a disaster in Kerala, a major disaster. Many people lost lives, damaged your property. Why not the place? Why not? Why not disaster report? What does the report say? Landslides wiped out forest encroachments. There are two words here you have to focus on. One is landslides, the other one wiped out, a phrasal verb. Encroachments, two words and one phrasal verb. Here, first one, landslides. Usually, if you go to a hill station, hilly region, sometimes chunks of earth, chunks of soil, they come down. That is known as a landslide. And these landslides wiped out. Wipe out means to remove completely. Wiped out what? Encroachments, forest encroachments. Usually, encroachment goes with a town or a city. Encroachment means illegal occupation of government property. Imagine there is a property that belongs to the government and someone occupies that, builds something over there. That is known as encroachment. Usually, we use the word encroachment when it comes to footpaths, pavements. In cities, you see footpaths and pavements, but some hawkers occupy those footpaths. They sell the products. That is also encroachment of the footpath or pavement. An important word. Let us go to the second one. There's an important word here. What is that word? I have given a few times. Regular classes, I tell students that is trespassing, you have to recollect. Very good, Pavani. Embezzlement. There are two more expressions you have to recollect. One is swindle. The other one, feather one's own nest. Feather one's own nest. They have given this idiom many a time. What is this feather one's own nest? To make money illegally or to misappropriate money. Embezzlement, swindling of money, embezzlement, they mean the same. Imagine someone works for a particular company and he takes the money of that particular company. He uses the money of that particular organization, not legally, illegally. That is known as swindling of money and embezzlement and also feather one's own nest. Feather one's own nest. They have given many a time. Very good again, Pavani. We can also use the word pilfer, but pilferage has a different meaning. Pilfer means to steal in small quantities. Usually that goes with maid servants and also sometimes corporate offices, companies. Employees steal stationery. That is also known as a pilferage. Pilfer, exactly. But you have to recollect. So, what does the news item say? What does the snippet say? Embezzlement charges. You can say lay pen barred from holding public office for 5 years. Based on the charges, she has been barred. Here, bar means to prevent, prohibit. Bar has many meanings. You know what? A place where people go drink. Another, bar counsel, goes with lawyers. Here, bar as a verb means to prevent or to prohibit. Prohibit from holding public office for 5 years based on the charges. Today also I may sound a little different because I have a sore mouth. My accent, the way I speak may be a little different. Please bear with that. Ukraine conflict. Trump slams Zelensky, Putin as truce delayed. We have got this word so many times. I'm sure our students know. One is slam, to criticize severely or harshly. Another meaning, to close the door using a lot of force, slam the door. And truce, a peace, armistice, all these we have got many a time. Coming to the next one, data point, Home Ministry dropped most assurances. Close to 15% dropped in the Lok Sabha. Home Ministry, it is about Home Ministry dropping something. What exactly the Home Ministry has dropped? Assurances. Imagine, assure someone of something. Assure is a regular verb, but assurance, he has given me the assurance. That's a noun form. And it talks about Home Ministry dropping assurances drastically and also to the tune of 15%. Talks about the percentage. I'm sure many of you must have watched yesterday's match last evening, Mumbai versus Kolkata Knight Riders. Mumbai won, I think, first match to win. And who is responsible? First to win. Ashwani Rekelton deliver for Mumbai. Ashwani debut. On his debut means what? The letter T is silent. First appearance, we use the word debut. On his debut, he has created a record. He has got 4 wickets. Getting 4 wickets on the debut domestic, first Indian, I suppose, to get 4 wickets on the debut. A record by this young player, Ashwani. And also the Rickelton, batsman. He played extremely well. These two players catapulted the success of Mumbai Indians against Kolkata Knight Riders. Let us go to the main headline. What does it say? We have 2 or 3. Let us see the first one. Here we have government pushes to clear Waqf bill. Rijiju slams opposition parties. Again, we have slam. This is what happens when you read the Hindu for 6 months. You become an intellectual. You gain a lot of knowledge. You get exposed to the language. You get exposed to a variety of contexts. You develop or acquire proficiency in English, and you become very good at effective vocabulary because same words are repeated. Here, slam again we have got. It is about Waqf bill and pushes to clear. Means it wants to clear. Exactly. Who is that? Slam, criticize, castigate. Wonderful. Harshly criticizing. Rijiju slams opposition parties. Otherwise, nothing to learn as such, but you have to read the news item to understand what exactly it is about. Farmers protest outside houses of APP ministers. This is based on Punjab. Farmers' problem. And right now, APP government is in power. Incumbent government is APP government, Aam Aadmi Party. And based on that, farmers protest against the ministers of Aam Aadmi Party or the government. All easy to understand. Tribal bodies ask center to defend Forest Rights Act. These forest rights belong to the tribals. Based on that, they request or ask center to defend Forest Rights Act. Coming to the extreme right, what do we have here? After clampdown in India, a return of Bangladesh is up. Clamp down, control with a heavy hand. After clampdown in India, a return of Bangladesh is up. The voluntary return of undocumented Bangladeshis is showing an increase after the government in December 2024 began a crackdown against foreigners staying illegal in India. Following political changes in the neighboring country, a source in the Union Ministry of Home Affairs said. It's about Bangladeshis across the border entering the country. Now let us go to the next one. Here we have a news item. 3 militants cornered in Kathua operation. Cornered. Cornered has 2 different meanings. There's a corner over there. He is in the corner. And another meaning, corner means to push someone so that they cannot escape. I have been cornered means I have been put in a situation where I cannot escape. Then also we say cornered. In this context, it goes with that meaning. Clamp down, control with heavy hand. Exactly. Bhanu. That's what I said. Now you see a pic over here. You see thousands of people, hundreds of people rather. And Eid cheer. Cheer is a positive word. Some people are always smiling. What do we say? Cheerful person. Cheerful disposition. Disposition means a mood. Dead end means cul-de-sac. Anant, very good. And cheer means a happiness, merriness. Here, Eid, based on Eid festival, cheer. Congregational prayer. So many people gathered. There is an important word, congregation. Congregation means a meeting, assembling, gathering. A lot of people gather at one place. We use the word congregation. Congregational prayer, people offering special namaz prayer on the occasion of Eid ul-Fitr at the Eidgah in Bhopal of Madhya Pradesh on Monday, as the day marks the end of Ramzan, a month of fasting from dawn to dusk for Muslims. I have already given, last time I gave different words and different word forms and meanings related to fasting, fast. But today I would like to focus on dawn to dusk. There are two important words. Dawn means the time before the sunset, and dusk means the time after the sunset, the sunrise. Dawn means the time before the sunrise. Before the sun rises, to some extent you can see things. That time is called dawn. After the sunset also you can see. That time is known as dusk. For dusk we also say before sunrise, after sunset. Nagesh. Yes, very good. Twilight. Twilight zone also means vague, not clear. And here we have about the same news item. Coming to the next one, government rejects US media report claiming HAL supplied sensitive tech to Russia. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and some US media report says HAL supplied some sensitive matter to Russia and sensitive tech information. But India denies that. Government of India rejects US media report claiming HAL supplied sensitive tech to Russia. Coming to the next news item, you can see the coast and you can see a person. Summer said to be warmer, but El Nino unlikely during coming monsoon. IMD. El Nino factor unlikely, not going to happen. Chances are less. Then we use the word unlikely. Summer said to be warmer, but El Nino unlikely during coming monsoon. IMD. Climate forecast. An important word we have got many a time, I'm sure all of you know. Forecast, all the three forms are same. Cast, forecast, broadcast, telecast. And also cost, hurt. You have to recollect that. IMD Director General M. Mohapatra says there will most likely be neutral El Nino conditions. That's all from the front page of the Hindu paper. Let us go to today's editorial analysis. Today's editorial analysis are 10 plus important words, but we have got those words, a few words many a time. Still, I have brought some important words and some new words. And today's editorial is all about what is happening in the US, freedom of speech. The US is known for liberty. There's a statue also, Statue of Liberty in New York City. You all know that. And it is known for open transparency. It is known for freedom of speech. But now things are going against the basics of the US Constitution and the US spirit, American spirit. It is about that. And this is the enrichment as usual. Let us see the very first word, revoke. Revoke we have got many a time. Revoke means what? Part of speech, verb. To officially cancel or withdraw a decision, law, or privilege. You grant a privilege to someone, but you take it back. That is revoke. Null and void. Very good, Nagesh. To make something null and void means not valid, no longer valid. Example, the government decided to revoke the new policy due to public backlash, an important one. Some government has come up with to nullify, yes, Pavani. Some government comes up with some law, some policy, and public oppose that, backlash, opposing. Then they take it back. then we say revoke. A good example, it happens. The government decided to revoke the new policy due to public backlash. Word forms revocation. Generally, we don't use as a noun. Revoked, verb, of course. Revoking. Word usage, revoke a license. It goes with a license, contract, a visa. Very important in this context. Word combinations, revoke privileges, an order, citizenship. All these combinations you have to remember. Very good, Nagesh. Abrogate, annul, repeal, rescind, reject, nullify. Wonderful. I appreciate that. Synonyms, cancel. See, it is here. Annul. Spelling, you got to be careful. Annals, different. ALS means chronicles. To make a note of incidents or events based on the time factor. Based on the time factor, we have to use two words, synonyms. Chronicles, annals, ANNALS. Not based on the time factor, you make a note of incidents, we have to use word archives, not archives, archives. But archives has another meaning. What is that meaning? A public place where government records are kept. And here, annul, ANNUL. Here you remember null, nullify, to cancel, repeal, rescind. Very good. Other words are definitely acceptable. Antonyms, grant, approve, permit, authorize. Simple words. Harass. We have got this a few times. Good. I appreciate. Nagesh. Harass, and I gave one combination. It's a general statement. Police harassment. Harassment at the workplace. Typical combinations. And harass, part of speech verb. To repeatedly trouble, annoy, or intimidate someone. More than annoy, trouble or intimidate. What is the meaning of intimidation? Frightening. Persecute has a different meaning. Persecute. Prosecute, persecute. Prosecutor, public prosecutor, a legal term. But persecute, to show prejudice or bias. When people go to some other country as migrants, sometimes they get subjected to persecution. That's a different one. Why have you used it over here? Anyhow, intimidate someone, not annoy, trouble or intimidate. It goes with police usually. It's a general statement, mind you, not my personal statement. Police harassment, the combination is there. And it also goes with workplace. Official harassment, harassment at the workplace. Employees should report any attempt to harass them in the workplace, as I said. If someone tries to harass at the workplace, they should immediately report. Word forms, harassment, noun form. Yes, we do use this form. Harass, past form. Harassing, present participle. Word usage, harass someone at work. Harass online. Harass politically. Now, harassment online is a new development. You all know nowadays you get the message also. Even the Prime Minister has talked about this digital arrest. Have you guys heard of that? You may get that as a passage. What is this digital arrest? They make a call, they say we are customs officials or some other officials. They try to harass the person. They swindle money. They demand money. And they say if you don't pay, you'll be arrested immediately. You will be arrested immediately. Digital arrest. Cyber problem. Cyber crime. Word combinations, harass persistently. Sexual harassment is also an important combination. Excuse me. This is also a typical combination. Sexual harassment. Persistently means continuously. Harass verbally. Usually it is verbal, obviously. Synonyms, bully. Bully goes more with school level informal English. Usually what happens, school, if you go to a school, you have big guys, you have small guys. Some people are tall, well-built, hefty. They try to intimidate those who are very short, thin, and timid guys. That is known as bullying. Have you heard of this any time? But it is informal English, let me tell you. Intimidate, formal, bother, torment, an important word you have to remember. Comfort, assist, encourage, support. Simple words. Enshrine. Good morning, Naveen. Rather late. Exactly. Pulpit. Who is this? Bhanu. Wonderful. I appreciate. Coming to the word enshrine, the moment you see the word enshrine, you have to think of constitution. Enshrine, part of speech verb, to preserve or protect something as sacred or legally guaranteed. Usually enshrine, shrine goes with religion. Religious shrine, a place of like a temple, and sacred, holy and divine. But enshrine, when we talk about constitution, it takes a legal dimension. Legally guaranteed. Example, freedom of speech is enshrined in the constitution. Word forms enshrine, verb, enshrinement, noun. Word usage enshrined in law, enshrined in history, enshrined in tradition. But I would like to reiterate, usually it goes with constitution, law. Word combinations, enshrined values, a very good combination, enshrined principles, deeply enshrined. All these you have to remember. Synonyms, preserve, uphold, protect, guarantee. Antonyms, violate, remove, abolish. Abolish also an important word. Punitive. The moment you see the word punitive, you have to think of the word measures. Though we have got a few times, we always have new students, so I'm compelled to bring these words. But our regular students know all these. No problem, Naveen. No issues as such. Punitive. Punitive measures, exactly, Anand, very good. Warrior also. Part of speech adjective, meaning intended as a punishment. Intended as what? Punishment. The government imposed a punitive taxes on imported goods, means as a sort of punishment. Word forms, punitiveness, noun. Generally, we don't use as a noun. It takes, we use it as an adjective. Word usage, punitive damages, punitive action, punitive measures. This you have to remember. Remember. Word combinations are punitive fine, punitive response. Generally, we don't use this. Overly punitive, you can say, means excess. Chide has a different meaning, Bhavani. Chide, scold, reprimand, rebuke, admonish, a different group. Here we don't use synonyms, disciplinary, harsh, retributive, penal. Penal, also an important word. Antonyms, lenient, mild, rewarding. There is one important word here. Usually retro, it goes into past, prefix. Retributive justice. Today, a lot of people talk about why reservation. The justification based on the constitutional stand. Reservation is nothing but retributive justice. Means what? Some sections of the society are underprivileged, downtrodden, and backward communities, marginalized communities. They suffered a lot in the past, and they could not get a lot of stuff like education and other privileges they could not enjoy. To do justice, when we talk about equality, imagine we conduct a race for a lame person, means what? Handicapped person and a normal person, that cannot be justified. And to justify that, they introduced reservation. That is known as retributive justice, means correcting the mistakes committed in the past. An important word you have to remember. Internment. First, when you see this word, you may think of internship. Internship is different. That goes with a student and taking up a project in some company as part of the education, graduation or post graduation. But here it's a different word altogether and also a different meaning. Part of speech, noun, meaning the confinement or imprisonment of people, usually during wartime. Imagine some people are here in this country from some other country, and India wages a war against that particular country. And the people of that country who are in India, if they are arrested, that is known as internment, confinement or arresting, imprisonment of people, usually during wartime. Example, the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II is a dark chapter in US history. During the World War II, there was a clash between Americans and Japanese, and that time some Japanese students were in the US. They were arrested. They were taken into custody. That is like a negative thing based on that dark chapter in US history. Word forms intern, verb, interned, past form, and internee, person who is interned. Rarely we use this. You have to recollect another word. What is that? Inmate. Inmate goes more with a person in the prison or in the hospital also. Usually, a person in the prison, jail, inmates. Inmates escaped, we say. And word usage, internment camps, forced internment policies. Word combinations, wartime internment, civilian internment, mass internment. Synonyms, detention, imprisonment, confinement. Antonyms, freedom, release, liberty. Detain is a verb form, detention is a noun form. Beacon, an important word. Exactly, Bhanu, right. Incarceration, Nagesh, very good. You have to recollect that word as well. What is beacon? Part of speech noun, it can also be a verb, meaning a guiding light, symbol, or source of inspiration. There is a source of inspiration. Vishnu is there, signal. There is a source of inspiration that is known as beacon of hope, beacon of something. The country has been a beacon of democracy in the region. This talks about the US. US is known for liberty, freedom of speech, democracy, spirit. But today things are changing. Word forms, beacon, past form, rarely used, beaconing, present participle. Word usage, beacon of hope, as I said. This is a typical combination you have to remember. Freedom, progress. Word combination, moral beacon, guiding beacon, beacon of excellence, rarely used. Synonyms, light, signal, inspiration, example. Antonyms, darkness, obscurity, an important word. Deterrent. But they have other meanings, not exactly opposite words. That's all for today. What is this editorial about? It is about after Donald Trump becoming the US president, right now he's the incumbent president of the US, a lot of changes. That means you have become good at vocabulary. Very simple. If you don't find a lot of words in the editorial, new words, only one thing is quite obvious. What is that? Your standards have gone up. You have become good at effective vocabulary. As simple as that, you should be happy about that. But you never know. It depends on the topic. It depends on the topic. Alarming shift. Courtesy Donald Trump, shift in values, shift in policies, shift in attitude. So many changes. And these changes are not positive. Based on that, alarming means what? Something to worry about. What is the main idea? Donald Trump's executive overreach. Executive overreach. He is a president, the executive. Overreach, going beyond the limit, calls for, demands for what? Judicial intervention. He is on signing spree. Usually we say shopping spree. At the time of getting married, people don't shop on a particular day. They shop 1 week, 10 days, 20 days, 1 month. It goes on. Then we say they are on shopping spree. Now Donald Trump is on signing spree. Every day he comes up with a new executive order, he signs. Based on that, demands what? Judicial intervention. The judiciary has to come into picture because some of the actions, this is the opinion of the editorial, not my personal opinion, do remember. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has confirmed that there is an ongoing program in the United States to revoke, cancel the visas of foreign students who are taking activities that are counter to our national interest to our foreign policy. I don't know how many of you have this background information. Some Indian students also they had to deport. Some of them have done self-deportation. In the past, imagine you're in the US, you're part of a campus, a prestigious Ivy League university like the Harvard, the Princeton, or the Columbia, or the Yale University. All these belong to Ivy League, the best in the US. And students would express their views. Some of the views would go against the US. No one would be bothered. But today they cannot do that. They can't afford to do that. If they do that, either officially they'll be deported or being sensible, they have to go in for self-deportation. It talks about the same thing. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has confirmed that there is an ongoing program. What is that program in the United States? To revoke the visas of foreign students who are taking activities that are counter to our national interest. I'll give one example. One Indian student of Columbia University, she supported, I think, Hamas group. And based on that, she had to officially leave the country, self-deportation. Because US doesn't support Hamas, US supports Israel. Hamas attacked Israel and war has been going on. They don't want anyone staying in the US, living in the US, support who are against the US. If they support Israel, no issue. If they support Hamas, obviously they want to deport those people. And that are counter to our national interest. Counter means against. Counterproductive, you have to recollect. You do something expecting a positive result, but you get a negative result. That is known as what? Counterproductive. For that, I also give one expression, boomerang. Have you heard of this word any time? Boomerang can be a verb, can be a noun. As a noun, it is like a wooden thing, inverted V shape, invented by Aboriginals of Australia, used for hunting. And what is surprising over here, mind blowing, it works on the principles of aerodynamics. Very good. Who is this? Nagesh, within no time. How come you guys are amazing. And boomerang, invented by indigenous people of Australia known as Aboriginals, and it works on the principles of aerodynamics. That is amazing. They use it for hunting purpose. They throw it. If it hits the animal, the target, it falls there. Doesn't hit, misses the target, comes back to the person who throws based on principles of aerodynamics. Boomerang. And it also means counterproductive. Coming to the next sentence. Report suggests that several hundred visas have been revoked. Present perfect passive voice. The US has revoked several visas. Several visas have been revoked by the US, which include those held by Indian students. This is what I was talking about. These reports also indicate that the US government is using surveillance of social media. How do they decide that this Indian student, this Chinese student, this French student, against the US foreign policy? They're checking the social media, the posts, surveillance of social media. And one has to be extremely cautious before posting something on social media. He is using surveillance of social media activity as a basis for these revoking. Mr. Rubio also referenced the more troubling aspects of the Gaza war protests. Jewish students were reportedly harassed or university buildings were occupied. I don't know how many of you know Jewish, one more dimension they encountered. One thing supporting Hamas or a group that is against, US is against that particular group, that goes against US foreign policy. Another one, targeting Jewish people. In the US actually, there is I don't know how many of you know this, anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism means going against the Jews. A lot of people are against Jews. And Jews, which country belongs to Jews? Israel. Israel is the country where you come across Jews. And Jewish people, if they are targeted, obviously the US will not tolerate. It talks about that. In his view, if an action would justify denying a visa at the application stage, it is grounds for revocation after issuance. A visa at the application stage itself denied. It is grounds for revocation after issuance. However, this development raises concerns. The actual idea. What is this actual idea? Freedom of speech is being targeted. However, this development raises concerns about the US government stance on the free speech rights of foreign nationals who reside in the country legally. It is in a way related to free speech of foreign students residing in the US. Not all those affected by these visa revocations have been disruptive. Disrupt means what? We have got many a time. Interrupt. And rise, rose, risen, raise, raised, raised, you should recollect. Not all the, diaspora also you have to recollect. Nani, good. Not all those affected by these visa revocations have been disruptive. A few have been disruptive, that means they went against the US foreign policy, not all. The right to free speech is enshrined in the First Amendment to the US Constitution. First Amendment to the US Constitution talks about what? Freedom of speech, free speech. Although the amendment explicitly restricts Congress from curtailing speech, it has long been interpreted broadly. Here the amendment talks about explicitly means openly, directly. Restricts Congress from curtailing speech. Curtail means restrict. It does not allow the Congress to restrict the speech of an individual, and it has long been interpreted broadly, but they have their own interpretation. It protects people, not just the citizens, though the distinction may have been less defined at the time of its writing. There is a difference between people, citizens. Citizens of the US, that is one concept. People residing in the US, another dimension. It does not, at the time of writing, they did not distinguish, though the distinction may have been less defined at the time of its writing. Now they are trying to. Foreign students, obviously, they are not citizens of the US, they are targeting them also. But when this was written, perhaps it was written keeping in mind the citizens of the US. What does the second part talk about? Whether this right extends to foreign nationals legally present in the US remains a gray area. This is the actual point. The Constitution, the First Amendment to the US Constitution, talks about free speech, and it does not allow the Congress to restrict free speech. But that goes with the citizens of the US, American citizens. Now the question, pertinent question, is it applicable to foreign students living in the US? That is not clear, that is vague, based on that gray area. Whether this right, free speech, extends to foreign nationals legally present in the US remains a gray area. Gray area means what? Not clear, vague, ambiguous. Various laws, from those of the late 18th century to more recent regulations concerning the impact on US foreign policy, have placed limits on such expression. There are some limits. You cannot say whatever you wish to say. Obviously, it goes without saying. Yet, historically, foreign students have often been vocal critics of US domestic and foreign policies without facing punitive action. This is an important thing. There are limits. Then the writer introduces a contrasting information with the word yet. Yet, historically, if you look at historical what exactly happened over a period of time, historically, foreign students have often been vocal critics of the US domestic and foreign policies without facing punitive action. Foreign students express their views against the US foreign policy against the US, but they never faced a punitive action, means a punishment. For the first time, they are undergoing these punitive measures. And university administrations have generally defended the free speech rights of students and academics. Coming to the university students, a common man in the street, a different thing. But a university student representing a prestigious university, says something against the US, the universities defend the stand taken by the students so far. They have been doing it. University administrations have generally defended the free speech rights of students and academics. Could be American students, could be foreign students. Despite its imperfections, both historic, such as the internment of Japanese Americans during the Second World War, and ongoing, such as systemic racial inequalities. Systemic means touching the entire system. We have got this again many a time. The US has been a beacon of liberal values and due process. The US has been, from the past to the present perfect tense, active voice, a beacon of, a source of what? Liberal values. The US is known for liberal values and also due process. Before punishing, proper process, due process, being meticulous. The US is known for that, but things have changed. These are principles admired around the world. Why does the world admire the US? For liberal values, liberty, liberal values, and also anything due process. Only then the final call is taken. These are principles admired around the world, often more than its material wealth or professional opportunities. Why are people crazy about the US? For two reasons. One, professional opportunities, and it is known as a land of opportunities. And the second one, wealth. A rich country, a affluent country, obviously people get attracted. More than its material wealth or professional opportunities, the world admired for its principles that go with liberal values and due process. For many, it is a commitment to values such as free speech that makes the US exceptional. Commitment to free speech makes it outstanding. That commitment now appears to be at risk. That is the point here. That's why the editorial. That commitment to free speech seems to be shaken, seems to be at risk. The US system of checks and balances, which guards against the abuse of power. Abuse we have got many a time, and it has two or three meanings. Three meanings. Abuse, one, misuse of power. Abuse means to shout at someone using foul language, abuse someone. Third one, to ill-treat someone, abuse the child. Abuse of power should assert itself, perhaps through judicial intervention. Now things are changing, how to correct the things, what is required. Editorial says the main idea is being reiterated. What is required at this juncture? The judicial intervention is required. Perhaps through judicial intervention to rein in. Rein in means to control. Reins has as a noun the leather straps used to control a horse. Rein in means to control. Control who? Obviously, the overreach of the president. To rein in the overreach by Trump administration and preserve the freedoms that define American democracy and inspire large parts of the world. They have to restore or they have to preserve those principles the world admires and respects the US for. And how is it possible? Through the judicial intervention. Ends on that note, main idea being reiterated at the fag end of the editorial. Now let us go to questions based on this. Try to get all the questions. We have mini mocks today. Try to answer the first one. What is the primary concern raised in the editorial about the US government visa revocations, revoking visas? What is the primary concern? Only a small group of students know. The US is trying to protect national security from foreign students. The revocation may violate free speech rights of legally residing foreign nationals. Strengthening diplomatic no. So what is the answer here? C is the answer. May violate free speech rights of legally residing foreign nationals. They have the freedom to speak, but that is being curtailed. According to the editorial, what has the US government used to justify visa revocations? On what grounds they are revoking the visas? Poor academic performance? No. Surveillance of social media activity. Based on that, they are taking actions. Deportation action based on what? Social surveillance of social media activities. Surveillance of social media activity. That's why I said one has to be cautious. Why does Secretary of State Marco Rubio justify these visa revocations? He believes that certain student activities oppose US national interest and foreign policy. The very first one is the answer. You don't have to read the remaining options. Exam also, you have to take the same approach. Save your time. You have to be damn sure about the first one. Take that one, move on to the next one. How does the editorial describe the historical stance of universities regarding free speech? Historical stand, universities regarding free speech. Universities have always supported government policies over students' rights. Universities have generally defended the free speech rights of students and academics. Clearly mentioned. No, fourth one, A is not the answer, B is the answer. B. The universities defended free speech of students and also academics, means the professors, teaching fraternity. What aspect of US values does the editorial suggest is admired worldwide? The entire world admires US for two or three things. One, material wealth, the other, professional opportunities. But what is the most important factor? Economic, no. Military, no. Its commitment to free speech and due process, two things. Highly cherished or valued. Good, very good. Coming to the next one, what historical example does the editorial use to highlight past violations of US democratic values? It talks about students of a particular country at the time of World War II. Vietnam War, no. The internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. Answer is B, you don't have to look at the other options. Now we have error location. Try to spot the error. India and China, casualties were reported after a skyscraper that was under construction in Bangkok collapsed. Despite being over 1,000 kilometers from the epicenter, are among the countries that has sent aid. Where is the subject? What is the subject here? India and China, not one country, two countries, are among the countries that have sent. What is the right word here? We are talking about the subject is a plural form. We have to use a plural verb. Based on that, among the countries that has sent is wrong. That have sent. Exactly. Subject verb agreement. Choose a filler, the number of injured at around 3,400. This is a bit difficult, but any fact we use present tense. Based on that, you have to decide what is the exact word form. You got it, Nagesh? The number, I have already given many a time. There are two phrases, the number, a number. They have given this many a time. The number always, the phrase the number takes a singular verb. The phrase a number takes a plural verb. But here we are talking about a fact. Any fact we use present tense, the number considered third person singular if you convert that into a pronoun, and based on that we have to add s or es to the verb. Based on that it is not stand, standing still. The number, don't consider the phrase, the number stands at. Very good, many students have got it right. I appreciate. Double pillars. While accurately predicting the location and intensity of earthquakes remains beyond current scientific capability, probabilities can be, and it is possible to strengthen existing infrastructure to withstand seismic events. Seismology, study of seismic activities, means earthquakes. What is the answer? Predicting the timing can be estimated, seems okay. Predicting the effect can be anticipated, seems okay. Occurrence confirmed, no. What is the answer, A or B? While accurately predicting the timing, location, generally we talk about timing in this context. We know the time we can evacuate people, not the effect. Effect is not correct. Answer has to be the first option. Word usage, we have the word epicenter. See the sentence where it has been used properly. If you know word combination, 1 second you can decide. Bhavani says A. For which one? Question number 4. The epicenter of the new fashion trend. Epicenter does not go with fashion. Epicenter goes with earthquake. The epicenter of the earthquake was far from the city, but its effects were still devastating, making the candidate the epicenter of controversy. No. Epicenter of the virus. Answer is what? B. What is the phrase trickle in? What does it mean? Trickle, literal meaning, a different meaning altogether. What does it mean? To drop by water drops comes out in drops, then trickling. But trickling has a different meaning. With the death toll rising from the hundreds to over 1,000 in just 24 hours, and information continuing to trickle in, a significantly higher casualty count cannot be ruled out. Means what? Trickle in. To flood quickly, to arrive slowly and gradually. Stop completely, become irrelevant. No. Answer is what? Trick is different, trickle in different. B is the answer, not A. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched, and some important words are there to do spend some time. That will help in the long run. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.